Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Donna here with another video. Today I'm going to do a little chit chat, story time, get ready with me about my law school experience, and I hope you guys find it helpful. So if you want to know a little bit more about law school and just kind of hear me ramble, keep watching. So while I tell you guys a little bit about my law school experience, I'm going to just do my makeup because I need to get up and get going. I am in the middle of summer classes. So right now I am a 2L. I go to school in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and law school has been woo! That laugh should tell you enough. My law school experience has been life-changing to say the least. Law school is one of those, how do I explain this? Okay. A legal education is like no other education you can ever receive. You can do so much with a law degree. Like I always thought I was going to get a law degree, I'm going to have my own firm, I'm going to be like handling these big corporate cases, or I'm going to be representing athletes. But I realized there's so much you can do with a law degree without practicing traditionally. And when I say practicing traditionally, I mean putting on a suit and tie, walking in the courtroom with a briefcase. I legit thought I was going to be like Viola Davis in How to Get Away with Murder. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like that. You can definitely be Viola Davis. I wouldn't advise you being Viola Davis. But you know what I mean. You don't have to be that killer powerhouse bulldog pitbull lawyer who walks in the courthouse every day. It doesn't necessarily have to be like that. You can do whatever you want with your legal degree. Right now, I'm still unsure of what I want to do with my degree. I'm very interested in sports law, potentially representing athletes, potentially representing organizations. If I could work for the Heat or something like that, that would be amazing. I'm also considering personal injury. I feel like there are just so many people that don't know their rights and don't know that they have access to having some kind of relief for pain and suffering that has happened to them. So when something crazy happens, I don't mean just like an ambulance chasing, slip and fall kind of attorney. You broke your ankle, call me now, like 411 pain. I don't know if you're in South Florida, you know what commercial I'm talking about. But people that have had tragic things happen to them when these school shootings occur, when car accidents occur, and you think there's no one to blame, there can definitely be someone to blame. And even though you can never replace the loss of a loved one or some catastrophic injury that has happened to you, you could definitely receive some kind of like monetary remedy, and it's also preventative to cause those things from happening again in the future. So personal injury is definitely an interest of mine. Anyway, let's start with the applying to law school process. I'm just doing like a really simple like everyday makeup. So if you guys wanted to see like my everyday makeup look, I posted another video. It'll be linked down below, or you could see it on my page if you guys wanted to know what I was putting on my face. But so the application process. Before you even start to think about law school, if it's something you want to do, if it's something you want to pursue, you really need to consider if you're willing to put in the time and work that it takes to really embark on this law school journey. It demands 110% of your attention, 110% of your effort, and if you do not have a scholarship, you are going to be in debt in the six figures. This is a serious burden. I don't think I completely even understood the magnitude of how expensive law school is when I started. I already had some student loan debt. I started a master's program before I started law school. You just need to make sure that you understand what you're doing, do the research, crunch the numbers, and honestly do the best that you can on the Lsat so that you can get a scholarship. I did receive one scholarship offer when I applied, but that school was in Orlando and I wasn't willing to relocate, so I decided to stay in South Florida, and I'm paying for school with some grants and mostly student loans. Even our textbooks are between like $500 and $700. Law school is extremely expensive, but if you find a good job after and you do the work, it'll definitely pay for itself. So don't let that by itself deter you. When you're in your undergrad years, it doesn't really matter what you choose to major in. So personally, I decided to major in English because I was very strong in reading and writing, and I knew that in law school, reading and writing is everything. We read about 200 to 300 pages a week of cases. It's just what it is. But when you go there, they have to reteach you everything. So writing is completely different from how I used to write in undergrad. So even if you're a poli-sci major, it doesn't matter. You can major in whatever you want in undergrad and still apply to law school. All you have to do is take the Lsat. I believe now they're also accepting the GRE or another type of standardized testing for applications. So just major in something that you're passionate about and you could get a good GPA, because a strong GPA and a strong Lsat score is what's going to make you a desirable applicant when you're applying. I also did some research after I applied and got in, and I realized that it's actually science majors that do the best on the Lsat. So students who had a major in biology, an undergrad major in physics, they did extremely well on the Lsat, and I'm just like, I'm not Bill Nye the science guy. Like, I could have majored in whatever I wanted. It really doesn't matter, because those are the people that test best on the Lsat because of their whole like analytical reasoning. And the Lsat is just a different beast in and of itself. When it comes to studying for the Lsat, just put the time in. Honestly, it's nothing compared to law school. Every law school student I've ever spoken to has never found the relevance of the Lsat in law school. But that's just the nature of the beast. You gotta do what you gotta do. Check out lsac.org. That's lsac.org. That's the board that administers the exam, and you'll get all the details there. They have a lot of good study aids and things like that. I've also been telling people, if you need someone else to look at your personal statements, feel free to email me. I have my email address down below. I had some people reach out and I'll send it back to you if you just want a second set of eyes. I'm not the end-all be-all of this personal statement will get you to Harvard. I can't guarantee that, but grammatically and in terms of storytelling, I can help you out a little bit with that. So feel free to send it to me or send it to any other friends or family, any professionals that you know, any mentors you have, just to have someone else look at it, because you might have something that you missed. They might catch something that you missed yourself, you know? And one big thing that a lot of law students miss that I've read up on when I was applying was that please don't forget to change the school that you're applying to in your personal statement. I know that sounds really basic and kind of obvious, but a lot of admissions boards have said that you'd be surprised the amount of students that forget to change the school name in their personal statement. So can you imagine like applying to Harvard and they said, you know, in your personal statement, I'd be such an asset to the Yale community. Bruh. Embarrassing. So, you know, just it's always good to have a second set of eyes to look at whatever you're doing. When it came to my application process, I was looking for a school that I could attend where I can work full-time, because for my first 2 years I had a full-time job. I worked 9 to 5. It is not what I recommend, but it's definitely possible, and it definitely shaped my law school experience, to say the least, because in my school, there's a daytime program for full-time students and the nighttime program where classes start from 6 to 10:30. And it is very mentally demanding for you to get up every day and go to work. And then I had a 1-hour commute from work. I worked in West Palm Beach, drove to Fort Lauderdale, went to school from 6 to 10. It is extremely demanding, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do, and it's definitely possible. And honestly, the busier you are, the more productive you are, the more driven you are. You're surrounded by people that are doing the same thing that you're doing, and it really helped me along. Something else that I really liked about the evening program was that I am 32 now. When I started law school, I was 29, I think, just turning 30, and I felt like I was old. I felt like I've waited so long. Everyone who's in law school is in like their early 20s. They're fresh out of undergrad. But in the evening program, everyone was an adult. They were working adults. Some of them were middle-aged, changing careers. One of one of my classmates in my section, she actually had one of her son's friends like in orientation with her. So it's like there were so many different people from so many different backgrounds, even though it was like a mixed school, like I love Fort Lauderdale. And I just enjoyed that. I felt like I was going to be so out of place. I felt like everyone was going to be so young. But honestly, half my class was Hispanic. The other 40% were Caucasian, and maybe even that, they could have been like European. And then the other 10% were like mixed Indian, Black, and other, and what everyone else. So it was just like an amazing melting pot of like South Florida, and I really, really enjoyed that. I found with the younger students that they were, the daytime students, that they were a lot younger. In a sense, they were a bit more immature, and the professors were a lot harder on them. So when I started working, one of my good girlfriends, Allison, we were working together, we applied together. So she quit her job and decided to do law school full time. We went to the same school, and I decided to keep working and do the night program. So I kind of got like all the intel on like the daytime sections, the day students versus my nighttime sections, and what the difference was. And I really found that with the nighttime section, the professors were easier on us, not in the sense of grading, like our final exams and everything of the material was exactly the same, but some days people had real life things going on. A lot of my classmates had kids, they had spouses, obviously everyone had a full-time job, and when life happened, you could talk to the professor and they were much more understanding because they knew that you had other things going on besides school. So I have like severe anxiety, and I eventually learned, I wish I did it sooner, but after my first year I started talking to my professors more and saying, hey, I'm having a hard time, I'm behind on this assignment, is there anything you could do, is there any help you could give me? And they were so helpful. In the daytime section, students are much more competitive and petty in a sense. I've heard a lot of horror stories, but students are very cliquey and like this is what they do all day. But you know, for the evening program, we're just in and out. Like, honey, I just finished a whole day of work. I don't have time to kiki and talk about foolishness and who's doing what with who. No, I'm here to work. We're here to do what we gotta do so we can go home and like take care of our families and then go to work the next day. And honestly, I just love that grind. I love the focus and like the maturity of the evening section. There were a lot of younger students as well, but I just like the melting pot of the evening program. So last fall, my now fiance, hey babe, he's an attorney as well. He does very well for himself. He convinced me to quit my job so that I could focus on school. And I was really struggling with that idea. When it came to me quitting my job, I have worked full-time since undergrad. Like, there was no time in my life that I did not have a full-time job. I was not trying to hear it. He worked as an attorney. I was used to working. I worked in legal research for a structured settlement company. I was thriving. I was doing well. And the legal research that I was doing, we were using Westlaw and LexisNexis, and those are the programs we're using in law school. I had like firsthand training. I just didn't want to let go of my job. I love my job. I love the people that I worked with. But I got to a place where my anxiety was so severe from my schedule that I just couldn't handle it anymore, and I had to quit my job. And he really pushed me. He was really the driving force to me quitting. Of course, he was also being financially supportive. He was like, you don't have to work, it's okay. You know, I'll take care of things. So I'm fortunate in that aspect. But I do recommend for anyone that is in law school, if you can afford it, or if you have the support to like go to school full time, even if you don't want to be in the full-time daytime program, I'm still in the evening program. So technically I'm still part-time. I take night classes. I can also take day classes during the day when I want, and I make the schedule work for me. But as soon as I quit my job, my grades just skyrocketed. Like, I received my first A in law school. I'd never received an A. I'm never receiving. My grades just skyrocketed. I received my first A in law school. I didn't even think an A was possible. I was treading water for so long trying to survive, with working full time, with having anxiety that just got worse and worse and worse, that I finally changed my life around, and my grades just got so much better because I know I'm intelligent, I know I'm smart, I just didn't have the tools to set myself up for success. And I knew that one of my weaknesses is my anxiety. And once I made room for school, to focus on school, I finally saw the difference, and that confidence and starting to see my grades like get better instead of getting B's and C's. I'm like, wow, like I'm getting A's and B's. Like my confidence is boosted. I'm working harder. I'm doing more. I'm not just mailing it in thinking, oh, I'm just gonna get a C anyway, you know? So if you can, I highly recommend like waiting to work until maybe your third year when you have some more time. But if you could focus your first and second year, it's life-changing, because those high GPAs from your first year, that's what's going to get you scholarships, that's what's going to get you job offers. Once your GPA is up, like you just have to fight to keep it up. But once it's like average, it's very hard to rebuild your GPA. So don't forget, focus from jump. Okay, here's another thing. When I applied to law school, the first time I applied to law school was in 2013. Yeah, so I think the first time I applied to law school was in 2013, and I deferred. I actually went through the law school application process twice, and I deferred 3 times, meaning they accepted me, I accepted, but I told them I'm not going to start for another year. And I did that deferment process for another 2 years because I wasn't ready. I was working insane hours. At that time, I was working down in South Beach. I was a cocktail server and a hostess, working like 12-hour days. It was insane. And I just wasn't in a good mental space to start law school. And I feel like that was the best decision I'd ever made in my life, to wait. There's nothing wrong with waiting. Do not rush. You are on no one's schedule but your own. Do what is best for you. Because if I didn't start law school when I did, I would not have one of my close girlfriends in school with me at the time. I would never have met my fiance now. I would not have been doing as well as I'm doing now. I could have gotten kicked out of school. Like, I don't know. I'm so glad I waited. I'm so glad I listened to like my heart and listened to like what was right for me. And I just started when I started. So I was almost 30. I felt like I was so behind. I thought I would have be working towards my own firm by 30, already married at 27, kids at 30. Like, I had a plan. No, that didn't happen. But this life right now is so much better than anything I could have imagined. So just trust your gut and know that you are like on track. Don't feel or make anyone feel like you're behind. Because even look at the world now. You have coronavirus, you have all this stuff going on. The whole world is on pause. Like, you have not missed anything. Trust me, go to school when you're ready. Take your time. And when I finished my undergrad degree, I started a master's program in public administration. And by the time I started law school, I didn't finish my master's. I have about 4 classes left. So I can always go back and finish those classes online one-on-one if I want to work in the public sector, or maybe I'll find a job that could actually pay for those classes for me. Take your time. Listen, God's timing is perfect. Trust me. So, and my master's program actually helped boost my GPA so that when I did apply, like, I was a more desirable candidate. Just do what is best for you when you think it's best for you. Something else that people ask, what is law school like now? So basically, they just haze you. You just get hazed. You get hazed every day. It doesn't matter what year you're in, what class you're taking. They're just here to make you feel like why did God give me this life? Why did he give me this gift, this law school? Sometimes it's overwhelming. Sometimes it's just too much, but I'm grateful. I feel like Beyonce. Like, that's how I feel in law school. Because it's such a blessing, but it's so much work. So for your first year, everyone, and kind of your second year, everyone takes the same classes, torts, criminal law, contracts, things like that. And it's not until the end of your second to third year where you could start branching off and taking electives that you're interested in. So like right now I'm taking disability law, I'm taking sports law, I took products liability. I enjoyed those classes and they weren't requirements. But essentially you're going to be reading on average about 200 pages a week minimum for all your classes, and they're going to be all cases. You're going to read all these crazy cases and you have to pull out the rule of law. Everything is just about what's the rule. For example, there is a case where a man slips on a banana peel in a supermarket. They have a lot of banana peel cases. I don't know why. These are true stories. So like a man slips on a banana peel, for example, and he sues the supermarket, and you have to figure out what the rule is. And the rule would be something like companies or employers are required to make sure that the public area in which customers are in needs to be clean or clean within a reasonable time. So he can sue because a banana was there for 30 minutes when it should have been cleaned within 15 minutes. Within 15 minutes, an employee should have walked by. That was a reasonable time for someone to see it, clean it up, prevent the incident. That's rule of law. And essentially, that's what you're doing with every single case. Just go through it, pull out the rule, get the facts, and then you're going to apply it on your final exams. So for all of your final exams, they're going to be 4-hour exams. That's right. 4 hours of questions, essays, short answers, multiple choice. 4 hours of fun. It's great. And if you have any kind of accommodation, if you have ADHD, if you have anxiety, if you have anything else, any medical issue, if you're pregnant and you just need some more time, your school does accommodate you. I highly recommend you guys seeking accommodations. I wish I did it sooner for like my own mental illness. I have a lot of test anxiety, so instead of 4 hours, you may get 5 hours. And I have 5 hours of fun. It's great. You get no exams during the semester. Generally, you might have a midterm sometimes in some classes, but generally there's no homework, there's no assignments. Well, there's homework because you have to read, but there's no graded assignments throughout the semester. You have no idea how you're doing until you take this 4-hour exam at the end, and that's law school. And when you take this exam, you're not gonna feel like, I nailed it, I did that. You did what? You're gonna feel like, why did I put that answer? What was I thinking? What did you put? What did you put? Like, you're gonna feel like you did terrible, but you're not. You're gonna pass and everything's gonna be fine. I've learned that, to stop freaking out, because you literally never know how you're gonna do. When I do take an exam and I feel comfortable and I feel like I did well, that's when I start freaking out, because I'm like, I feel like that was too easy. So don't worry, everyone is in the same boat. Like, you're not a crazy person. Don't worry yourself about it. Trust me. When you are applying to law schools, if you can get into the tier 1 schools, go for it. If you could get into Harvard, if you could get into Cornell, Columbia, NYU, go for it. Those schools are phenomenal. They're amazing. Obviously, they come with a great array of connections and a network that's going to get you a job, because that's the whole point. You want to go to the best schools, you can get the best job, you can get the best paycheck. Okay. But you need to consider that at all of those schools, yes, if you have an applicant applying for a job from Harvard, an applicant applying for a job from FSU, the Harvard applicant may seem more appealing, but the FSU applicant may have had a better GPA, better grades, a better clerkship at the state capital. You don't necessarily know what employers are looking for. And if you do go to a top tier school, you are competing with the best of the best. So it's going to be even harder for you to get to the top of the class. So I'm not saying that to deter you. If you get into a great school, go for it. It means you're good enough and you can definitely do it. But those schools that aren't necessarily tier 1, they can offer you a scholarship. My fiance, he got a full ride to Florida State. I wish I got a full ride to Florida State. Like, his debt he has to take on my debt. I feel bad for him, you know? So it's like, sometimes you need to consider the schools that aren't Ivy Leagues, apply to as many schools as you can afford to. Lsat does offer waivers sometimes if you can't afford the application fees, because they can be expensive. But consider other schools, because they'll give you scholarships, and that's money that you don't have to pay back. Because honestly, when it comes down to it, schools matter, but only to an extent. Honestly, it's your network that's going to get you a job. It's who you know, it's your work ethic, it's your reputation. That's what's going to get you a job. So my school, for instance, it's by no means like top tier law school, but in Fort Lauderdale, everyone knows my school. So many judges and attorneys have graduated from my school. They come there and they speak, they have connections there. Like, I've met so many people. My job prospects have widened so much just dipping my toe into the legal community, and that's just by way of my relationship. That's not even by way of me going out to seek internships and seek clerkships, because I haven't had the time until now because I was working full time. So now that I'm not working and I can go out and find my own internships, my own job opportunities, we're gonna see what happens, because it's all about your network. Like, no, I didn't go to Harvard, but you know what? I have a great network of people that are so willing to help, that want to look out for my school's alumni, that they just believe in you as a person and let you speak for yourself. Don't rely solely on your school and how you look on paper, because you as a person is what really counts and what really matters. Okay, something else that I did learn in law school. You know in the movies when they say, look to your right and look to your left. By the end of this semester, one of these people are not going to be here, or blah, blah, blah. That is so true. I look to my left and my right, and my little homegirls, my friends that I made my first semester, they were gone, okay? It is very real. If you do not keep up a certain GPA, you will get kicked out of school. And I did not realize the extent of that until the end of my first year, when I realized all the people that I grew a little close to during my first year were no longer there. So it's like, you have to be focused. You cannot get distracted. You cannot rely on others all the time, because they may not be doing everything that you're doing. For me personally, I never took to study groups. I just never thought I did well in study groups. I needed my own space. I needed to study on my own time. Sometimes I study best between like 1 and 2 a.m. It could vary. Like, I couldn't rely on other people and I was easily distracted. So for some people, study groups are great, and if that works for you, that's wonderful. But for me personally, I never really used study groups. Sometimes if I had a class that was a little difficult, I'd swap outlines with somebody or sit down here or there just to talk about a couple questions, and like, that was enough for me, you know? But if that works for you, that's great. Definitely make friends, because these are the people that you're going to be working with in the community. You want to go to school where you're going to work. So these are the people, how you carry yourself in school, how you handle work at school. These are what your future colleagues are going to remember when it comes to referring cases. When it comes to, hey, do you know this attorney by the name of Donna? Oh yeah, actually I went to school with her. She was really nice. Or, oh yeah, I went to school with her. Yeah, she was a horrible person. She used to kick puppies. They're going to remember that. So, you know, always be who you are, be a good person, carry yourself the best you can, and just be honest. I have dry humor, dry sarcasm, but you know, I'm honest. My classmates in my section, the friends that I have, they're like, Donna, you know, you're crazy. Like, sometimes I'm just so cynical, but I like that. I don't always mesh with people who are like, hey, I'm so excited to be here in law school, it's 8 p.m. and I couldn't be more excited. I love that energy and I love the positivity, but some days I'll just be like, girl, I need to be on whatever you're on, because I don't feel that way. And we would connect in this polar opposite kind of way, because I'm just like, I need whatever you're on. Whatever kind of coffee you drink, I need it. And that's fine too. Just be who you are and be authentic, because that's what people are going to remember, you know? Because I'm going to remember this person that was super bubbly and super positive all the time, and she's going to remember someone who was a little bit more quiet. But, you know, I was offered a ear to listen, and I always gave some positive and encouraging advice, you know? So you're gonna make lifelong friends in law school. I definitely have. I love the people in my section. A lot of them are graduating already, but you know, that stuff doesn't bother me because I know that I'm on my own schedule. So technically the part-time program is a 4-year program instead of 3, but I'm excited for my classmates. They're graduating, they're getting out there, they're doing it. It's like, I have 1 year left, I'm graduating next summer, and I can't believe I've made it this far. Like, I'm graduating from law school. It's been my lifelong dream to graduate from law school, and I didn't think I'd get here. You know, that's an achievement. And I'm tearing up because I am an emotional person, but I deferred for 3 years because I wasn't ready, and I never thought I'd be ready. And I finally applied, and I did it at the right time, and everything My first year was hard, and I'm working a 9 to 5 and nothing seems to be going right, but I'm getting the grades every semester. I'm working my butt off. And now it's like I'm getting spectacular grades, and before I know it, I look up and it's like I'm almost graduating. Like, I'm gonna be a lawyer. And I didn't even know if I'd make it through my first year. And that was just because I trusted myself and I trusted my instincts, and I waited and I didn't let people and comparisons distract me. I stayed focused and I stayed on course, and I was blessed to have good people in my life to keep me encouraged. And you know what, like, I'm almost done. So I just like really want to encourage you guys to stay focused, stay on course. It is so worth it. It is so empowering. Like, a law degree, you could do so much with it. It gives you a different type of education that you've never had before in the past. I'll do another video on kind of how they teach us, but it is so worth it. If my crying isn't enough for you, it is so worth it. It is so worth it. All I have to say is just take your time, do it your way. Do it your way. Take your time, get it done. I'm proud of you. You're gonna be proud of you. Your family and friends are gonna be so proud of you. It is so worth it. And yeah, I wish you guys the best of luck, and I'll check in with you next time. If you have any more questions specifically about law school, I know I was kind of rambling, put your questions down below, or you can find me on Instagram at _Dondonna. And yeah, get those personal statements done, study, let's get this thing going, let's get this thing done. I hope you guys are well. I know it's been a couple, hard couple of weeks, but you know, you got this, okay? But yeah, guys, get it done. It's so worth it. I'm proud of you. Your family's gonna be proud of you. Your friends are gonna be proud of you. It's a super exciting journey. I actually have to study. Yeah, it's 1:30. I have class at 6. So make it count, you know? So I'll see you guys next time. Bye.